Well, Katey Sagal from Sons of Anarchy, the first thing I wanted to ask you today, and thanks for joining us, by the way, earlier this year, you win your first ever Golden Globe Award. One of the very first things that happened that night, actually, you probably had barely gotten in your seat, and we're talking to your husband and your friends, and suddenly you're up on stage. What was that experience like for you?
It was pretty thrilling, actually, because we were driving into the award show. We both sort of thought, oh, this is so lovely to come to the party, but we're not going to win. I'm not going to win. And that was, it wasn't being negative. It was just, we just didn't really think that would happen. So I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled and glad that I got to the stage before they started playing the music. So I couldn't say a few words. It was very exciting, actually. I like the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Well, they like you. You've been nominated several times over the years. Just never had picked up that trophy. So some people, it's hard for them to be overly confident that they're going to win. And some of those film stars, they kind of know at that point that they're going to win. They've won so many already. But you seem genuinely shocked.
Yeah, I was genuinely shocked. The day before, I sat with my friend, and I said, she said, well, what would you say if you did win? I said, so I jotted down a few little things, because really, I don't know, it's such a weird thing. You just, when you don't get nominated for those things, you say to yourself, oh, well, these things don't really matter that much. And then it's a completely different feeling when you actually get nominated for one. And I think for me, I just wanted to keep my excitement level normal, so I didn't really go to the thought that I would win. And it's like what they say. It was just really, it was such a fun place to be. It was really fun. But I will say this: it was more fun to win than to not win.
I would imagine so.
I've done both.
Well, then you got to go backstage. You got to do all the press. You suddenly have a much more involved evening than maybe you had planned to begin with.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun. Then we walked around. I brought my kids with me to the show, and we walked around at the parties afterwards. And if you have your Golden Globe, you can go anywhere. So they'd say, "Mom, I want to meet this one. Mom, I want to meet that one." So we had a ball. It was really fun.
That becomes your kind of key to the city for the night, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, it does. It was really exciting.
Well, on the show, you've got a very interesting, complicated character that you get to play. If this was a real person, is this somebody that you would be friends with, or somebody you'd be a little wary of?
Oh, I think I'd be a little leery of her. Even though I think that where she comes from, I really relate to. She's very loyal. She's very family-oriented. She's kind of one for all and all for one, not necessarily out just for herself. So I tend to like people like that. But, she's a scary girl. They live in a very different kind of subculture than we're used to. She carries a gun. Just right there. I don't know that would necessarily be someone I would be having lunch with. I don't know. Maybe. You never know.
What's your favorite thing about playing her?
The thing that's most challenging for me are the things that are not the most like myself. I think we all have basic instincts about us that would not necessarily, that we can all hate something to a certain degree. We can all love something to a certain degree, but she's more extreme than most. To play somebody that would actually shoot somebody, to play somebody that would put the gun to a child's head in the name of getting her grandson back. These are all extreme situations. So that's totally fascinating for me as an actor, to find those parts of myself that then I can, expand on to get to where she is.
Well, you have just such a fun playground because of this ensemble, one of the best ensembles on TV. Talk about working with this particular group of folks.
Well, everybody is very serious about what they're doing. Each member of the club, each one of those guys has kind of their own history and backstory. There's a lot of backstory to our show. And even before we began shooting it at the beginning, we were all well informed of where it had all come from, where the club had originated. It goes back 30 years. So each member of our ensemble has roots to that, and they each do their individual work. All the actors that have been cast, I think Wendy O'Brien and my husband, Chris Sutter, did a great job in casting. They're just, they all really care about where they are, and what they're doing. So, everybody shows up, and, we work hard. It's cable. So we do an episode in 7 days that probably on network they would take 9 days. And, we get pretty dirty out there, and it's rough and tumble. But it's fun, it's sort of, there's something really creative about not having too much time to think about it. You just have to get in there. You have to show up doing your homework. I mean, you have to kind of know where you are in the big arcs and the big picture, because on the day, there's just no time to kind of lay around. We just hit it.
Well, beyond the regular cast, one person I wanted to ask about, a guest star on your show this year, was Hal Holbrook. What was it like for you working with him?
I think I think I just fell in love with Hal Holbrook. He is so endearing, and it was interesting for me because my father was a director, and Hal had worked with my father and knew my father, and my father passed when I was young, and there was something so sincerely father-daughter about Hal and I, and I just really saddled up to him. He was so wonderful to work with and so open and, just a great guy, great stories, great energy, just wonderful to be around.
Well, you mentioned your husband, Kurt, the showrunner and creator, and so involved behind the scenes on this show. What are the good points and what are the challenges for you as an actress working with your husband as sort of your boss?
There's definitely challenges sometimes. I mean, I would say the biggest challenge, there's definitely better things than not, but the biggest challenge is not bringing it home all the time. And luckily, we have 3 kids, so it kind of can pull focus. But it can be a little, during this, from him, it's a 9-month period of time from writing until the end of the season. For me, it's about 6 months. And during that 6 months, we have to really make sure that we take time to talk about other things. Even though we both love it, we both love the show. The good part is, I get to see him, because if anybody's ever worked on an episodic television show, the writer, producer, creator is just, 24/7 pretty much working. So at least, we're on the same lot. We can have a meal together. We can, sort of hang around. We see each other's table reads more. We get more time together than we would if we weren't working together.
Probably harder.
But I don't get much insight into the character. Everybody wants to know if I know everything before everybody else, and I do not.
So
he does not. He keeps it to himself.
That's on the negative side, and you would love to know more, but he just won't tell you.
I don't know if I'd love to know more. It's interesting when you're telling a story that takes 13 episodes a season. There's kind of, it's really almost better to not know the end till you get there. You're going along with the story. So that's how real life is. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, we talked about the Globes, but another big thing for you this week was the very first ever Broadcast TV Critics Awards will be this summer, and you're nominated for that as well. What does that feel like?
Yes, that's so nice. It's all really nice. I've been working a very long time, and gratefully I've continued to work. So I look at it all as just super lovely that I would at some point in all the jobs I've had, have somebody, honor that or recognize that. But, as corny as this sounds, the big prize is already that I have the job. I love to do what I do. So to then have other people love to watch what I'm doing is very special.
Yeah, finding that great material and that great character, that's the big reward.
That is.
You are going to be in the lead actress category on the Emmy ballots that were just released, hoping to get a nomination there. If you do, you'll have to choose one episode from this past season. Have you given any thought yet to which one you might choose if you're nominated?
Ooh. No, I really haven't.
What we generally recommend to people, and we've helped a lot of folks, is think about an episode that would give you the most range, maybe that you felt like this past season, and one that has, of course, you want to be in a lot of the storyline for that particular episode. You don't want to be off screen a ton, and you're not off screen a whole lot anyway. But and then the other thing is on a dramatic series, especially if you can have a little bit of emotion. Judges seem to really like if you can show a little bit of emotion somewhere along the way. Is based on that criteria, is maybe one particular episode jump out to you, or a couple?
Well, it was a pretty emotional season, because we were looking for my grandson, and I also, hooked up with my father with those episodes with Hal Holbrook. So it would probably be one of those. The first 4 episodes I was with Hal, And that was very emotional for me, and I had to check him into a facility, and that was very difficult. So Gemma had a hard time with that. So maybe one of those, or then we go to Ireland, and we're tracking down my grandson, and there was some very intense stuff there. I didn't know you could only pick one. If you get nominated, you can only pick one.
That's right. Once the nominations come out, you'll have about 10 days to 2 weeks to make a decision and have your editors, put it on a nice clean DVD for them and get it to the Emmy folks, and they'll give you all the instructions for that. But you'll have a judging panel of about 50, 60 people or so, and the nice thing about that is, unlike any other awards, they're watching the work. You're not up against who's got the most buzz, who's got the most anything else. It's strictly about, who's got the best of the 6 episodes. So something just to think about over the next couple of weeks.
I will. Well, thank you for I had no idea. I will. A
lot of people don't know that about the Emmys, but I really like that because they do have to actually watch the material. So one other question I wanted to ask you about, I couldn't let you get out of here without a little Married with Children question, but not really about the show as much as both you and Ed O'Neill are really on top of the world again. He's on Modern Family, and of course, you got sons. What would it be like if both of you could get nominated here this summer? Would that be just incredible?
We would love it. It's so funny. I was just driving in here, and I was talking to Ed on the phone. He called me about something unrelated, but then, he got nominated also for that critics thing yesterday. So we were both kind of talking about that, and the last time I saw him was when I won the Golden Globe, and he was there, and so for us it is so because we used to always call ourselves the little engine that could, on Married with Children, and we were like the black sheep of the Fox network. We were like, everybody's little dark secret. It seemed like that the public,
the very first.
Yes. Yeah, and the public loved us, but we were never really critically or awards, we weren't embraced in those ways. So I think for both of us, it's kind of, it's sort of like now we're, it's just very gratifying that we're both continuing to work is the number one thing, I think. Because, you see people that, I know lots of people that started when I started, and I don't see them anymore. So, this is pretty, I'm grateful that I'm still working, and I think he feels the same way. And an award would be great. An award for him would be great. I would love that.
Oh, we would love it for both of you. And get your publicist on this for us. We would love to see. Talk to the Emmy producers. The two of you back on top of the world should come out and present an award together at the Emmys this year. That would be so much fun.
That would be fun. All right, I'll tell him that.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Good luck this summer, and hope for the best for you.
Okay, thanks, Chris.